6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And I was muted, wasn't I?
Yep, you're good now.
We're starting strong, but welcome to the Endless Frontiers, your home for all things science fiction and science fiction. I am your host, Jed Morgan, and thank you for joining us for the very first Story Forge stream. We're going to have a lot of fun. It's going to be incredibly laid back and chill. There were some technical difficulties, as you saw with me being muted. This is the first time that Out of Line Crafting has streamed on her channel, so we had to set some things up and things were going there. But we are dual streaming right now on Endless Frontiers and Out of Line Crafting. It's great to have you here, Dr. Rachel from Out of Line Crafting. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm really looking forward to this. I do the occasional art parties on other people's stream, but like you said, it's my first time streaming on my own channel, so hopefully some people will bounce into there as well. Just drop a hello over there. Check out art stuff if you're really into that, but I'm really looking forward to this story. I was in the stream the whole time on Monday when people were creating the story. It just went wild. So I love all the chat suggestions, and I've been thinking about this all week of what to draw and everything. So I'm really looking forward to it. I'm ready to dive in.
Perfect. Yeah, we're going to have a lot of fun. For those watching on the Endless Frontier side, I just dropped a link to the Out of Line Crafting version of this stream. So if nothing else, please click on that link and go subscribe. She does a lot of great crafting content over there, making masks, making different cosplay stuff. And I think there's going to be more content on that platform going forward. So definitely subscribe and turn on that bell. But for those of you who weren't watching Rider Flight this Monday on my channel, this stream is a continuation of that stream. So on that stream, we did the very first chat choose your own adventure segment where, using a combination of rolls, dice rolls, and super chats, we crafted a story. You, me, the chat, everyone. And I think we came up with something very interesting. My one goal in this stream right now, as we write out that story that we crafted on Monday, is to prove that I'm better than Twilight. That is my one and only goal, because there are sexy vampires and werewolves in this story as well. And I just hope I eke out a little bit better than Twilight for this bonkers story. It's going to be short, less than 20 pages, but we'll see if I achieve that quite lofty goal. Very lofty. But Rachel, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're going to be doing while I write out this short story?
Yeah, so actually I would love it if, before you start like jumping into all the writing, if you could just go through, for people who didn't catch up on Monday,
Of course.
just go through kind of like the general idea, the characters that we have, because I have a couple of ideas of like one scene that I would love to do that may be sort of like an epilogue at the end. I don't want to give any spoilers for people who don't know the story, but I was also thinking of just doing like character portraits. So sketch out some character portraits and then let it culminate in one larger piece. And today is going to be mainly like sketching out the idea. You'll see some decent art stuff depending on how much time we have for the stream. But later on my channel, I'm going to be turning that big scene with all the characters and stuff into a larger, like just one scene, almost like a comic book page art. So look out for that video on my channel on Out of Line Crafting. But yeah, for now on this stream, like you said, chill, laid back, sketch out what the characters would look like, get some input from you because you're the one writing the story and I don't want to take too much creative license here. Get some input from the chat, and then once we settle on what the characters kind of look like, then I'll put them into this scene.
Perfect. Yeah, and I'll recap the story here for everyone who missed it on Rider Flight. So the story started out as the rules of it's a sci-fi story with a werewolf, with the wild card item of a ball gag, and a theme centered around karma. So what we ended up crafting with the chat was the story of a werewolf who he's left Earth to protect the human race from himself. Out in space, there's no full moon to transform him, so he's been living out in space for a very long time, but he hears a distress call, follows it, comes to a virtually unknown planet where he finds a crashed bat-like ship, and on board he finds a beautiful vampire woman who has a ball gag that's her fang muzzle. It was quite difficult to steer away from the eroticism of it because it was the genre was sci-fi, not erotic, which was one of the options. So getting away from that was a little bit difficult. But he decides to trust her after she explains who she is and whatnot, and she runs away from him. He decides to take this opportunity to enjoy the open air for the first time in decades. So he sets up a little camp and is camping out on the planet when mutant boars attack and he must defend himself. Unfortunately, he is severely injured, and the vampire chick is the only one who can save him just before the brink of death. So they drive off the boars, and the vampire nurses him back to health. Unfortunately, he's so injured that he can't leave the planet before the full moon, which eventually does come. And when he wolfs out for the first time in decades, the vampire is able to take care of him, make sure he doesn't hurt anyone. Well, there's no one to hurt really, but he doesn't hurt her, and she makes sure he doesn't hurt himself. And that's when he realized that an immortal companion, like a vampire, can give him the companionship that he's craved after all these years in space. So he can have that companionship without fear of hurting anyone. So that's going to be the closing out the story, is this mutual companionship that they both find in each other, with the potential for a romance to develop. I don't want to leave it off with a kiss or anything like that, but that's going to be the short framework of the story. And I know you have an epilogue planned for that. Is kind of what you're thinking is the centerpiece.
Yeah, I was just thinking, like, after he's healed up and they're, companions here, it's still a dangerous world out there that they're exploring. They're trying to understand, find their way through. So I kind of like the idea of this sort of big fight scene of him wolfed out, like hand-to-hand fighting this giant boar, mutant boar with these large tusks. And he's back to back with the vampire lady companion friend, and she's fighting her own boar. So they're still like in this scene fighting the boars. You get the character of the werewolf, you get the character of the vampire lady. I think is named Elizabeth.
Yes, the vampire is Elizabeth and the werewolf is Lyran, is what the chat decided.
Yep. So Lyran and Elizabeth are working together, fighting off these boar creatures. And I like the idea. I've never drawn a werewolf before. I've drawn plenty of people before, but never done a werewolf. So I have all my references up on the monitor next to me, looking at, how hairy do I go with a vampire? And how hairy do I go with a werewolf? Sorry. And then vampire. What are some sneaky ways to get around, YouTube's policies? I'm sure I can't just draw completely naked, sexy lady and get away with it on YouTube. And I don't want,
the rule is how artsy it is. So if it looks cartoonish, not realistic, you can get away with it. But if it's photorealistic, that's when it becomes a problem. That's why video games can get away with, like video game streamers can get away with streaming sex scenes sometimes, like The Witcher 3.
So I think what I'll also do is, if they're back to back, you won't see, you'll get the hint of some things. You'll definitely know she's naked, but maybe just like a well-placed werewolf tail to cover something up.
Strategic, yeah.
Strategic placement of things, of leaves, of a boar tusk, whatever it is. But I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, we're gonna have a lot of fun. Like we said a few times, this is gonna be a very laid back, chill stream. I'm gonna put some music on, and we're gonna be chatting throughout the whole thing. But it's going to be incredibly casual. We're gonna be interacting with the chat. So hail and howdy to everyone watching on the YouTube side or the Kick side. So we are live on the Endless Frontier YouTube side, the Endless Frontier Kick side, and of course the Outerline Crafting side. So wherever you're watching, thank you and welcome in. And of course, hail and howdy to Legatus, the bot supreme, taking care of things on both Endless Frontiers YouTube and Kick. So yeah, we're going to switch over to start writing just now and to start drawing right now. Turn on some music, kick back. I've got some nice whiskey and I've got the glasses on. I've got the whole look. I just need to get a classic pipe, and I've got the stereotypical writer aesthetic going, and I quite like it. I might need to get a bowler hat instead or something like that, a little something old fashioned, maybe a tie. But I feel like I'm balancing out the aesthetics. She doesn't care.
No, it looks great. I don't know what an aesthetic would be for an artsy person other than like having all kinds of Legos and art stuff all around behind me. You can see multiple projects that aren't finished in my background, I'm sure.
Most of the things in her background chat are stuff that she made, like that beautiful Lady in the Tramp portrait that you can see really well behind her. She drew that. She's a very talented individual. And I'm not saying that just because she's my wife and can beat my ass if I don't.
Yeah, no. But he's definitely being paid to say that all these nice things about me.
Perfect. Well, let's jump in. So yeah, I'm going to be writing out the story, switching between Plotter, which is sponsoring the stream, but they're not the ones who decided that, you know, I should use them or anything like that. I just really think it's a great tool for what we're trying to be doing here. So there will be an ad read for that at some point, but we're going to dive in. And as you can see from, the banner is not on this one. Let me add it to this scene. So the name is not going to stay Karma Wolf. It is an awful name. I realize that. It's just the only thing I could think of to name the file to get things started tonight. So the highest super chat starting at $1 will get to name the story. That's what we did through the entire Rider Flight stream. The super chats were picking names of characters, of places, and events like that. So you guys get to determine what the story is going to be called. If not, it's stuck as Karma Wolf. All right? If you guys don't pick a name.
Please, chat. Somebody jump in and save us from this name. I'm sorry, Jed, you are a wonderful writer. And I'm not just saying that because I'm your wife. But man, the name Karma Wolf, it needs some serious help. So please, chat, jump in, save us from...
I always write terrible placeholder titles. I know they're placeholders, so I don't try. But for my book series that is currently called The Endless Frontiers, it was originally shorthanded to Filterverse. I don't know if you remember that, Rachel, but yeah, I called it Filterverse for a little while. And everyone I told that to despised it, thought it was awful. And they were right. So I eventually decided, all right, I need to really name it. So Endless Frontiers came out of that. But we're going to jump into it. Let's see where we're at. The first thing we're doing is chapter 1. There's no prologue. And the intro is... The werewolf Lyron is floating in the interstellar medium, avoiding all planets and solar systems to prevent transformation and keep others safe. Completely alone, hair overgrown from years of poor hygiene. He's a miner, and as a werewolf, he can handle more hostile environments and trade for food. So that's what we're going to start with, is setting that up. Going to be a fair amount of exposition until we get to the inciting incident. Hail Frank over on the YouTube side. Jed, did you write for... Bubgy? I'm not sure what you mean, Frank. This is a completely degenerate story. It is weird, but chat made it. It's not my fault. It's not my fault.
I will take credit for changing it to werewolf.
You did, yes. It was going to be a bounty hunter before, and that's just boring as hell. Legatus, so it's just like Star Wars called itself Blue Harvest to get around people stalking the production. Karma Wolf is just the placeholder title. Yes, excellent example. So yeah, for those of you who don't know, Return of the Jedi was called Harvest Moon, or Blue Harvest, excuse me, especially when they were filming the Redwood Forest for the Endor scenes. Otherwise, you're in California. The Redwoods are a tourist destination. They would have had people flocking to them and causing trouble. So yeah, it's exactly like that. It's a placeholder to disguise the production.
That's smart.
All right, what are we going to start with? I don't want to go anything basic, like he wakes up in a cold sweat. That would be way too basic, too cliche.
I'm trying to think of the right look for this, for Lyron. too.
Hmm. I always just need my in. As soon as I get my in, I'm able to go for the chapter and go pretty quickly. Just starting it, that's the first hurdle. In the darkness of space, a long craft was dark and stormy night. Yes, dark and stormy night is very cliche as well, Frank. Let's see, what do we have? One thing that you'll all learn about me, chat, is I am not a good speller. I rely heavily on spell check like every modern writer, and I would be hopeless if I had to go back to like a typewriter or something.
Yeah, you have a really good vocabulary, but spelling can be a bit of a struggle sometimes.
So yeah, the thing I want to go for, chat, is there's not a whole lot of werewolf stories. To be fair, I don't read a whole lot of werewolf stories, but as far as I'm aware, the idea of the transformations being a renewal is not something that I've seen a lot. So I want to lean into that, where the transformation isn't just about, oh, there's a monster inside me that needs to break free, that it's a necessary biological cycle to a person with this condition, where it's almost like a cocoon or a reptile shedding its skin. So because he hasn't transformed in decades at this point, rather than once a month like he normally does, his skin just feels wrong. Like, imagine the bug from Men in Black 1. If you remember, that skin just kind of hung off him in weird ways. It clearly didn't fit right. It's not going to look like that, but that's the feeling that Lyron has. It's just that his entire flesh doesn't sit quite right on his frame. I want to use that sensation as the lead-in. Belong on his frame. Yes. I spelled something wrong, and then I fixed it, and I fixed it wrong. I might be retarded.
It's okay. We can all be a little retarded sometimes.
All right, so what I have so far is Chapter 1. The flesh was taut and furrowed, stretching, creaking, begging to tear free, to be released from its strained existence. A persistent itch sparked through the outer dermis, fleeing from Lyron's desperate nails. There was no catching it. There was no conquering it. His skin simply wasn't his own anymore. It didn't belong on his frame, and it never let him forget it. Italicized never for extra emphasis. Hopefully that's a good latch on for you, chat. Let me know what you guys think. All right. Now, this might seem like a really stupid anatomy question, but you're a smart doctor, lady.
Maybe.
Hairs and pores, they don't cohabitate, correct? Or do they?
Hair and pores?
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe so. Just because hair is growing out from slightly different areas. I don't think they coincide, but I'm not a medical doctor.
All right, so I won't say
that.
that his hair sprung forth from nearly every pore. I'll just say nearly every centimeter of his skin.
Big hairy dude.
Very hairy dude. I'm gonna make that a new long scent adult. In between these.
Wolf legs are so weird.
See if I can spell lycanthrope right.
Probably not.
I think I'm going to wait. I introduce the fact that he's in space before I jump to the fact that he hasn't transformed in a little while. Working on reference photos still.
Yeah. Alright, I think I'll switch over, show what I'm kind of sketching out.
Nice.
Alright, I know it's kind of tough to see. But I promise once I actually finish this outline, it'll be a lot better.
Okay. Legatus, as in werewolf form, does not his. At this stage, we don't know he's a werewolf. Instead, call him a mountain man or something. I mean, we could say that he's, as an appearance, similar to a mountain man, sure. As in werewolf form, does not his body also transform? So this is just his hair, not body. Yeah, this is an over-the-top display of body hair. Like, this is human body hair that we're talking about, and facial hair and everything like that. But it is unusual, the sheer quantity of it, but it is not his werewolf form or anything like that. No corrosives that could stain it. Stain. And the air recyclers, all right. So yeah, what I have here is the flesh was taut and furrowed, stretching, creaking, begging to tear free, to be released from its strained form. A persistent itch sparked through the outer dermis, fleeing from Lyron's desperate nails. There was no catching it. There was no conquering it. His skin simply wasn't his own anymore. It didn't belong on his frame, and it never let him forget it. That's good. I caught that. How long has he been in this tube? Would it not have been dulled to a gray over time from its pristine white? Not a chance to repaint it. So that's what I'm talking about here. Is there's not a that's what the next paragraph is talking about. He's been in here for a few decades, but the outside of the ship doesn't have a whole lot. There's not corrosives in space, and the interior, the air recyclers are sophisticated enough that it's doing a good job. I think I do want to soften that language though, making it so it's dulled a little bit, but a line that's like it's scarcely dulled from the brilliant white or something like that. So I do want to soften the language I have right now, but it wouldn't be muddy brown or something. That's what I wanted to avoid. But even the graceful absence of gravity and the constant friction it demanded was not enough to soothe his aching. Lyron hung suspended in the empty air of the sterile tube he called home. The walls had scarcely from the shimmering white. The walls had scarcely dulled from the shimmering white. The walls had scarcely dulled from the shimmering white. I don't like this language here. The walls had scarcely dulled from the shimmering white. on the day he purchased this vessel. That is a long sentence. It is split up, so it shouldn't be too bad. The walls had scarcely dulled from the shimmering, blinding white they had possessed on the day he purchased this vessel, for there were no corrosives that could stain or corrupt it, other than what his own body produced, and the ship's air recyclers purified most of those contaminants.
Hail Elastic Jeff in my chat asking what we're drawing. So we are drawing a some art of Jed's story that he and some random dice rolls and some very twisted super chats helped write about a sci-fi adventure with a werewolf guy who's kind of drifting through space, finds himself on this seemingly uninhabited planet, comes across a wrecked ship that's bat-shaped. He finds a very sexy naked vampire lady, and she's wearing a ball gag, which was the random item of choice, which is just being used to kind of like muzzle her vampire teeth. He decides to help her, and she eventually becomes his companion to help him, explore this planet. And at some point, there's a campfire, and what is it? Giant, wild, mutated boars attack them.
What's what they asked for? Yeah.
Yeah. And he gets injured, and she helps him. And they're trying to get off this place before the moon, before the full moon. But they can't, and he wolfs out. But she sticks with him, good friendly companion that she is. We're trying not to turn this into a love story, by the way. Kind of keeping it, very general in terms of they are friends helping each other, but potential for future romance, possibly. But it's shaping up to be a good story, and for now I'm just kind of drawing some of the characters. So I chose to draw the wolfed out version of our main character here, just because I've never drawn a werewolf before, and I thought that'd be really interesting.
All right. There. Thanks for the catch, Legatus. Sector. Let me refresh my chat because I didn't see the recent Frank message that just came in. I don't know why YouTube is just dropping random chats for me lately. Frank, what type of creams does this itchy sink fellow have available? Not a lot of great ones, apparently. Nickel wouldn't be very useful. What's a useful element? We'll go with palladium.
Palladium?
Mm-hmm. And it wouldn't be pure. The palladium ore. For some reason, YouTube had Frank's comment held for review. Okay, that's weird. It normally would show up for me that it was held for review, but I'm glad you were able to release that, Legatus. All right, let's see where we're at. And in the end, home the walls. I think I'm going to go for a third-person close omnipotent. I know a close and omnipotent aren't usually put together, but I think it should work in a scenario like this where I just want the should be omnipotent. I think I'm just going to go to third-person close, but not third-person POV. That way I can flip between the minds of Elizabeth and Lyron later on. We'll see how it plays out. But for right now, I'm just doing third-person close. Otherwise, I'd have to scrap this line. Oh, and as a reminder, chat, I mentioned this on Riderfly. I didn't mention it on this stream quite yet. But if we reach the super chat goal of $100, I will make this short story into an audiobook with the professional voice acting talents of people like Fear the Beardo and anybody else who want to be involved. I don't know who's going to play the vampire yet. Playing a naked, sexy vampire with a ball gag isn't a role that many people will be clamoring for, but we'll see who we can get to fill that role. But
Hey,
yeah, in general, it's true.
You
I don't know. I
that.
haven't
Maybe
asked.
some people really excited.
It's gonna be a little ridiculous. But Beardo is already on board if we reach that. And regardless, after we finish both the artwork and the short story, they'll be available for members on my channel. All right, what do I want to do next? Only one L. Hail Wiley Dave over on the Kick side. What are we doing? Well, Wiley Dave, this is the follow-up to the Rider Flight chatmate Choose Your Own Adventure we did on Monday. So I think you were there. But on Monday, we crafted a story with a combination of dice rolls and super chats to kind of ad-lib a story together. And we reached the super chat goal to do this story forward stream where I'm going to be writing it out. It's going to be a short story. Less than 20 pages is my goal at this point. And Dr. Rachel over on her Outerline Crafting channel, which she is live on right now, is drawing out some artwork for it as the companion piece. And after it's done, both the short story and the artwork will be available to members. All right. Yeah, to accept. I'm skipping the song. I don't know what that weird chirping is that keeps coming in randomly. This is the free music available.
It's not my communicator. What? You're a communicator?
No, unless Siri has it outside my door and's chirping it. No, I don't have it in here. All right, until then he had to accept. His furry appearance. That's not gonna confuse people.
May as well just lean into it. You're writing a sci-fi furry adventure.
Sci-fi furry adventure. Until he reached the outpost. Until he reached... Did Beardo give you the books? Yes, he did, actually. I went and hung out with Fear the Beardo. Last night we both did, actually, for Kwanzaa. Yes, we celebrated Kwanzaa with Fear the Beardo. Make fun of him for that. And yes, he did get me the books, the Doctor Who histories that were very interesting. I wasn't sure what they were going to be, but they're very cool. I have them in the other room right now. I appreciate it, Wiley Dave. They look pretty cool. Lycanthrope. Man caught in between these two forms of this feels a little too on the nose. What do you think, Rachel? So I mentioned that he's hairy as balls and isn't able to shave or whatnot, and that he has to accept his furry appearance for the time being because he ran out of razors. But this line here, as he more resembled a werewolf than a man, for he was a man caught in between these two forms of lycanthrope and man. I feel like I say man way too much in there, but what do you think? Is that line just overall a little too on the nose?
Maybe take out the first man, for he was a being caught between these two forms.
For he was a being?
Like
the middle?
Yeah.
But it is just saying it outright like this a little on the nose?
I mean, as long as you don't want this to be a sudden reveal, like, hey, you get to the end and be like, by the way, guess what? He's a werewolf. You never knew that, did you? I mean, saying it outright kind of creates an interesting image of this guy, of like, how much werewolf is he? Like, does he have the muzzle? Does he have wolf-like ears? Or is he just a really hairy dude with some extra joints in his legs or something?
So as it is now, the line is, as he more resembled a werewolf than a man, for he was a being caught in between these two forms of lycanthrope and man, fled from humanity and the full moons of their inhabited worlds. Is that too exposition-y?
I don't think so. I kind of like it. Like I said, it paints a nice picture for the reader of like he's very much a reluctant lycanthrope, fleeing from, like you say, fleeing from the full moons of these inhabited worlds. He doesn't want to be what he is. He's probably very ashamed, but he's so much of this like werewolf in appearance that he can't hide it, even if he like ignores the full moons and everything. He can't get away from it. I kind of like that idea. Do you think his transformation would be, I think you were talking about painful before, like what do you imagine his transformation to be like?
Do you remember the shapeshifters in the first couple seasons of Supernatural, where like it was played by Jensen Ackles in the first episode that featured the shapeshifters, but when he was transforming, he literally had to peel his skin off. Like he dug his fingers into the first layer and ripped it off. I'm imagining something like that, rather than his skin morphing into the snout or whatnot and the more animalistic fur. I'm imagining his skin as tearing off, like I was mentioning with the reptile. The human persona, the human facade is a renewable thing. That's why I'm going to call his transformations renewals. And it's about renewing himself. And if he does transform into a werewolf, I'm changing the lore. I know, I hope Legatus isn't too upset about this. I'm having it with this werewolf that he can't transform back unless he consumes enough energy to reconstruct his new layer of skin, his human shape. So he needs to eat enough meat or whatever it is so that his body has the cellular energy to reform the outer layer.
I really like that idea. I don't know what all of you in the audiences think, but I like that idea. I like the idea of that this is a painful kind of thing. in some ways it humanizes it, because it's not just this this being that can just poof, I'm a werewolf, poof, I'm back to a guy, and no harm, no foul. It's a very painful process. It's horrible to have to go through. So that's why I don't know how much you can see of my image. I know it's upside down, but I'm kind of drawing this this werewolf who's like ripping off his own skin. Probably like howling in agony. Just this idea, like you're saying, it's a very painful transformation. So I thought, what if he's like having to rip off this skin because everything's growing out of his control, and he absolutely hates having to do this, but he can't stand it anymore. He can't stop the moon from shining. It's not like he can go around and just blow up every moon. So he is going through this very prolonged, painful process.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to finish this. I'm a page and a half in. We're almost an hour into the stream. Hail Dreaming Tabitha over on the YouTube side with a $5 super chat saying, "Hear me out. What if he sparkled when he went out into the moonlight?" See, Tabitha, you might have missed it at the beginning of the stream. My goal is to be better than Twilight with this short story, as insane as it is. That's just counterintuitive to that goal. Thank you, Tabitha.
Yeah, but she's not saying that, the vampire sparkling. It's the werewolf this
so
time.
we're mixing it up. So it's just very reflective fur. And Dreaming Tabitha, since you have the highest super chat of the night so far, you actually get to name the story if you're so inclined. Right now, the standard name is Karma Wolf, which is awful. So if you have any ideas for the name of the short story, you get first dibs on that. It's totally original. Oh, okay. Tabitha came up with the sparkling idea all on her own.
Oh, that's cool.
All right, where are we at? I think we are pretty well through the intro. Dreaming Tabitha, can I get the quick synopsis of the story again? Got my gray cells turning. Perfect. So, yes, the story that chat came up with on Monday was using the prompts of sci-fi, werewolf, ball gag, and a theme of karma. Lyron is this werewolf who he's fled all human contact or a human world to live in space as just a solitary miner, just doing enough to eke by and survive, because he is a werewolf and he doesn't want to transform and hurt people. So he's banished himself to the void to keep himself from transforming and keep everybody else safe. But he does end up hearing a distress call that leads him to a unexplored planet, or at least believed to be unexplored. When he lands on the planet to investigate, he finds a bat-like crashed ship, and inside he finds a very sensual vampire with a ball gag fang muzzle. I can't not laugh when I say that. He decides to take out the ball gag, hear her story, and I'm not a huge fan that karma is usually portrayed as a negative thing. It's just always like, oh, karma's gonna come and get you, as if it's the boogeyman. But karma is in and of itself a neutral concept where you do good, you receive good. You do bad, you receive bad is the idea. So I wanted him it to be a more positive view of Karma. So he releases her, she runs away. He decides to take an opportunity, the first opportunity in years, to camp out under the night sky and just enjoy the open air. Unfortunately, this planet is inhabited by mutant boars. That's Fear to the Beardos, part of his contribution. And when they attack his campsite, he's severely injured, but the vampire comes in and is able to drive off the boars. He is so injured that he's not able to pilot his ship and get off the planet. So he's stuck there until the full moon comes and he ends up transforming. But because the vampire is immortal, she's able to survive any onslaught, any attacks he renders, and is totally fine, is able to help him through that transition. And he heals during the transition, obviously, once he's aware of his healing factor, finishes taking care of him. And after that, they realize that she's always going to be hunted by humanity. That's what she was doing in the crash ship, is they were vampire hunters that had captured her. And he couldn't live with humanity, but they could be mutual companions. They could render service to each other. They could have companionship without fear from the other. So they decide to stay on this planet and build a life together. It's implied that they might get romantic in the future, but I wanted to end it off on a more neutral tone of just companionship, that he doesn't have to wander alone anymore. So that's the basic idea of what we're going for. I don't know how far we're going to be able to get into it. All right.
Yeah, we're an hour in, and I'm like going so slow on this werewolf. So
I think it's going faster than mine. I spelled that wrong.
We'll see how much we can get done.
Karma Sutra? I mean, considering the vampire's naked, strung up with a ball gag, that's not a bad title. But right now it's just Karma Wolf, which is terrible. What's a reference I can do? That's too obvious. Outpost. And do a little Star Trek reference. Alright, it is her prerogative as the super chatter to name it whatever she wants. So until there's a higher super chat that dethrones her, the story is called Karma Sutra. Karma Sutra. Should it look like this, Rachel, with a hyphen?
Maybe. I mean, Tabitha's doesn't have a hyphen through it, so I don't know. I think it might be up to her.
I think it looks the best like this, but she can, of course, override that decision. This story is ridiculous. All right.
I love this story.
I know Wiley Dave and Legatus will probably be able to tell this, but anybody have any idea out there what the Cardassian reference is for? In the ships. I don't know why I wrote shields. Wiley Dave has it correct over on the kick side. Guarantee it's a one-of-a-kind title. You're right, Tabitha. I think you can fairly confidently say that that is a unique title. Tabitha has it right. It is a Star Trek reference, Cardassians. They were a little bit in TNG, but primarily in DS9. I hope I spelled it right. I think that's right. I want to introduce it a little bit later. All right. Now we're introducing. I think I've got enough of the exposition out so that the reader can understand. Werewolf fled into space to not hurt people. I haven't explicitly said he did it not to hurt people, but I think most people would be able to infer that from the solitude he's forced himself into. Do you think I need to explicitly say it, chat or Rachel?
I don't think so. I think people can infer.
All right. It looks like Legatus is correcting my spelling. I was going a little too Kardashian in my spelling. There are 4 lights.
I don't want to spend all of my time on werewolf, so I think I'm going to leave it here and do Vampire Lady, because I know that's what everyone wants to see.
I think you're right. I think everyone is looking forward to the sexy naked ball gag vampire.
Yep, I figured as much. All right, so that's Werewolf Guy for now. Okay, and Jed, when you say she's strung up, like sitting on the floor, shackles on hands, or like
let me pull it up. If we wrote it down, arrival rescues at the beginning, goes down to the planet. I don't think we have. I don't think we've determined anything. There was nothing decided, but I would say standing up, spread eagle, like her arms. There's shackles around her wrists, pulling outward.
Shackles on wrist pulling out. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You said standing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I like what you've got there, Legata, so I'm going to steal parts of it.
Oh, my poor Google search history.
Wiley Dave, is she into that S&M shit? Borrow, indefinitely borrow? Did I write borrow somewhere? I wasn't supposed to? I don't think so. It wouldn't surprise me if I randomly wrote the word borrow. Not steal. I still don't know what you mean. Legatus. Oh, borrow some idea suggestions. Okay, you're right. You're right. Yes, this is chat choose your own adventure. So I'm borrowing ideas from the chat to craft the story because it is your story as much as mine. I kind of want it to be all your story. I'm not sure I want to take credit for this. All right.
What a way to kick off this series, though, right?
Yeah, starting out with a whimper. I was going to say a bang, but they don't bang, so. All right, we got through the first bullet point of the plot. So what I have now is I'm going to read this as best as I can, but I don't have quite the sultry voice that the story requires. The flesh was taut and furrowed, stretching, creaking, begging to tear free, to be released from its strained existence. A persistent itch sparked through the outer dermis, fleeing from Lyron's desperate nails. There was no catching it. There was no conquering it. His skin simply wasn't his own anymore. It didn't belong on his frame, and it never let him forget it. Even the graceful absence of gravity and the constant friction it would demand. I'll change that to would demand because it's not actively demanding it. Was not enough to soothe his aching. Lyron hung, suspended in the empty air of the sterile tube he called home. The walls had scarcely dulled from the shimmering, blinding white they had possessed on the day he purchased this vessel, for there were no corrosives that could stain it or corrupt it, other than what his own body produced, and the ship's air recyclers purified most of those contaminants. Through the interstellar medium, he wandered, flitting from one mineral deposit to another, eking out whatever he could pawn on the trading posts. That peppered the sector. A faint trilling noise teased at the edges of his senses, yet he ignored the noise, relishing in the fog of detachment that engulfed him. Lyron's overgrown, mangy brown hair sprung forth from nearly every centimeter of his skin, exacerbating his discomfort. His last razor blade had long since dulled under the constant grinding of keeping him smooth. It would be months before he crossed the void to the nearest outpost to sell the palladium ore that he'd stuffed into his cargo hold. Until he reached the outpost, where he could refresh his razor supply, he had to accept his furry appearance. As he was, he more resembled a werewolf than a human, for he was caught in between these two forms of lycanthrope and man, fled from humanity and the full moons of their inhabited worlds. Decades of solitude, without renewals, had taken their toll. Lyron's voice croaked on the few occasions he spoke. His flesh was a constant source of torment, and his own reflections in the ship's curved bulkheads were his only companions. Decades of loneliness, without distractions, without stimulation, had left him hollow. With the autopilot set for Outpost Cardassian 12, there was nothing to do save endure. Beep. Yes, Wiley Dave, beep. It's a subtle Krista Nova reference, I guess. The trilling finally tore his unmoored consciousness back to his haggard frame. Lyron's eyes came into focus, perceiving the ship around him. So, we're at the inciting incident. We got through the first bullet point. That's one of... Oh my god. It's the first of 12. It's gonna be a fucking 12-hour stream. No, I think they're gonna go a lot quicker.
1 bullet point per hour.
The second one is gets a distress call and decides to answer it. That should be closer. Wiley Dave, I had one of those S&M private dungeons on my delivery route. Delivered a lot of flowers to the mistress. The owner was in a wheelchair just like Larry Flint. A disabled sex dungeon. Did it have a wheelchair ramp? Legatus, of lycanthrope and human, belonging to neither yet part of both. Ooh, I actually really like that. Belonging to neither yet part of both. I really like that part. Where is that? For he was a being caught in between these two forms of lycanthrope and man, belonging to neither yet part of both. That's really good. It did not have a wheelchair ramp in the front, Wily Dave. Wow, that's just disappointing. Need the second half of this sentence, for he was a being caught in between these two forms of lycanthrope and man, belonging to neither, yet part of both, having fled from humanity and the moons of their inhabited worlds. I think I'm gonna do it like this. Having fled from humanity and their inhabited worlds. Sure. I like the conciseness of that single sentence on its own, that short one, but 2 lines should be fine for it. Having fled from humanity and the full moons of their inhabited worlds, decades of solitude without renewals had taken their toll. I think that works as a sentence. I'm borrowing those ideas from Legatus.
just borrowing.
Yeah, just borrowing. I won't give them back, but just borrowing.
Then is it really borrowing? No intention of giving back?
Is Karma Sutra better than Karma Wolf?
If it was a romance, absolutely.
If we had gone the erotica route, I think that would have been a perfect title. Alright. Lyron's eyes came into focus, perceiving the ship around him. Forward broke head. Swan case. A silly title would be The Bark and the Bite. I really like that one too.
I mean, Tabitha still has the
oh yeah, she has the super chat.
But that could maybe be a chapter title.
Yeah, I haven't named any chapters.
Legatus
is saying save it for a chapter title. All right, the music ended. Let me try to turn that back on.
How rude.
Very.
Don't they know we're still writing and drawing?
Let's switch to Lofty. Or Lo-Fi.
Lofty.
No, Lofty. Propel. I spelled propel wrong 3 times in a row.
I promise, chat. He is a writer. He really is. I swear.
How many different ways can you spell propel? Just 3? Give me time. And take away my spell check, and you will see how many different ways I can spell propel. Think I went a little hard with this sentence, Rachel. Lyron shoved down the desire of the werewolf within to hunt, to feast, to bathe in living, frothy, flowing nectar of a still wriggling prey's entrails.
Very poetic. Might have gone a little too hard.
Maybe a little bit. All right.
Meanwhile, I'm over here drawing a naked woman, so I mean, who am I to judge?
Um, Legatus, it sounds like Lyran has to go through that each and every time he trades at an outpost. Yes, exactly. I wanted that implication to be there. I'm glad you picked that up. Like, it is a hard instinct to overcome, especially after this long without renewal. And yeah, he's going to keep as much distance because of that. So you're right. He does have that instinct every time because he hasn't even seen a person and he's already getting that draw to kill right now. So yes, he gets that draw every time at an outpost, but he stays in his ship and avoids human contact. Not that he would fall prey to it necessarily, but he doesn't want to risk it. So yeah, a remote transfer of cargo. Mobilized. What is it? The slightly what do we want it to have? Wouldn't be nitrogen rich because we have a nitrogen with the oxygen. Legatus, do you think when we talked about him trading that we mentioned there was about remote transfers, lack of physical content? So here, when he comes to realize he might have to meet someone in person, it becomes more impactful. We didn't talk about it, but are you saying should we mention that he doesn't talk to anyone? I think we can mention it, yeah, so that you're right, it does become more impactful. Let's see if I can find it. see how we can make that work. We'll go with in person so that we can imply radio contact, like you're saying. All right, how does that work? With the autopilot set for Outpost Cardassian 12, a respite from his dwindling supplies, but not from solitude. That's really rough. There was nothing left to do save endure. The outpost. Try that. The outpost would be a respite from his dwindling supplies, but not from his solitude. All right, that's got to be better. All right, I like the way the paragraph is ending with ... endure, but maybe it's better with the outpost would be a respite from his dwindling supplies, but not from his solitude. For he feared what his animalistic side would do if he came face to face with another life form. I think that pretty efficiently says that, yeah, there's no human contact even with the outpost, and he's worried about what he'll do if he might succumb to his instincts if he saw someone. Legatus, that helps in setting up his psyche when he had to finally break it. I like it. Yeah, I think that works a lot better. And I definitely didn't like jamming it into the middle of that other sentence. So I like the way it is. This realization ate at the man.
How's it going over there?
I think it's going good. How's it going for you?
Pretty good.
I'm gonna full screen you so everyone can see what you're doing a little bit better.
Sure.
Oh.
What I got so far.
Nice. Those both look really good. You can tell the ball gags in there. Very strategic placement of the thighs and the hair. Classic. It's classic to use the hair. It's very 80s.
Thank you. I mean, I don't know what else I could use in the environment to do that, because like you said, she's just kind of like chained up by her wrists. I figured a sitting pose would be nicer, a lot easier to, hide under bits.
No, that works. That absolutely works. We hadn't established anything for her pose, so it was up to you.
Sweet. So yeah, that's the general idea of it, and then I'm not sure what next. Maybe trying to figure out what the boar looks like. The wonderful mutant boar.
It's looking great.
Thank you.
This beta music feature for Restream is not so great. Try that.
Maybe we should ask chat what kind of music they want to listen to.
Come on, play something.
It doesn't want to. It's given up.
Anything? Nope. There it goes.
Hey.
Not great, but it's something. All right, so yeah, I've added on quite a little bit. So last thing I had was the beep. The trilling finally tore his unmoored consciousness back to his haggard frame. Lyron's eyes came into focus, perceiving the ship around him. His pilot's terminal, set against the blank forward bulkhead, was demanding his attention, trilling and flashing with an amber light. Reluctantly, feeling the shifting of his ill-fitting skin, Lyron swung a leg wide to shove off a nearby surface and propel himself to the terminal. His communication screen was reporting an incoming transmission, a distress call. A vice clamped down around his lungs, cinching off his breaths. Cinching off his breath and quickening his pulse. There is another near. That's not a great werewolf voice. There's another near, he thought with a predator's intent. Lyron shoved down the desire of the werewolf within to hunt, to feast, to bathe in the living, flowing, frothing nectar of a still wriggling prey's entrails. He gulped down the hunger, rejecting the call of a moonlit hunt. With the press of a hairy knuckle, he called up the origin of the distress call. A planet from an unexplored system. A planet from an unexplored system 7 light years from his position. At his maximum speed, he could reach this world in a single fortnight. His sophisticated quantum computer analyzed the planet without request, calculating its orbit, seasons, and climate. With his robust werewolf constitution, he could breathe the oxygen, light, atmosphere with little difficulty. There were no other ships that would dare to venture so far afield in search of minerals. There were no others who could hear or answer this call. Only Lyron could help. This realization aided the man. wrestling with his promise to stay apart from the universe, and with a werewolf that demanded he answer the call for wholly non-altruistic motives. It craved release, to be free from this rotting cocoon and renew itself. A vice clamped down. Was there a physical clamp? Lyron felt like a vice clamped down on his chest. Yeah, it's a metaphor. I could make it a simile and add in like. That would be more clear. Where was it? Yeah, right now it's a metaphor. I could make it a simile, Legatus. A vice clamped down round his lungs, cinching off his breath. We'll make it a simile. A vice-like force clamped down round his lungs, cinching off his breath and quickening his pulse. That works. Craved release, to be free from this rotting cocoon and renew itself.
Legatus, I kind of like that idea. Saying in my chat, is the werewolf using one of those chest expander equipments? That'd be very funny if it was like a little workout room on his shuttle or something. It was like just for wolfing out, and you can lift so much more weight and everything. That'd be very funny, but I don't think so. He's just kind of this idea that like it's very painful to transform, and so he's basically having to rip off his own skin, his human skin, to finish his transformation. Well, we could go a cartoony route and just have him like at the gym. All the little aliens, whatever else is on this planet, are just so impressed by his strength. But right now, I'm just looking up references for mutant boars, and of course, it comes up with the pigmen from the Minecraft movie.
Of course.
Oh. I do not recommend Googling mutant giant boar.
No.
Really gross stuff.
Whatever danger that works.
So, Jed, is this at all where you thought the story was going to go early Monday?
No, I had no idea this is what would come out of all of this. I still think I mean, I joke that it's ridiculous, but I think it's better than it could have been. There were a lot of worse things that could have happened.
Mm-hmm.
But I am a little disappointed that we're only, 2.5 pages in? Jeez, about 2 pages in. And we're at 2 hours, almost.
This is good practice, though, trying to figure out how do you write something really fast.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, when I first started doing the art parties with Tabitha, I was rushing to like get coloring done because I was spending, way too much time outlining or sketching or anything and trying to put in as many details as possible. And I realized that's just too time consuming. So trying to, find that balance between enough detail, but getting the whole picture done and across took me a few tries, but I think I've gotten better at it, and it's a lot of fun. But it is definitely an exercise in art, just as this is an exercise in creativity and writing for you.
Mm-hmm.
But I do know that you can write fast. I've been there by your side when you've been writing all these books. So I know you can just blast through chapters.
There we go. Perfect. And that needs a question mark. All right, that's 2 out of 12.
Yay! You are 1/6 of the way there. Okay, chat. Whoever's still around, whether you are in the Endless Frontier stream or on my stream at Outline Crafting, I would love to hear some ideas for what you think a giant mutant boar would look like. Because all I've got in my mind are just a regular boar, but large. So what do you think a mutant boar would look like?
Legatus is. Do you think Salvation should go before? Well, he doesn't know which is which. But yeah, it might be more dramatic to end the section with Doom rather than Salvation. It's more ominous. split that into a different paragraph.
It's a very colorful world.
It is, yeah. Going for something a little bit different, a little bit unique.
Hmm.
I already say it terrified him. Dreadful. I said dreadful before. Perfect.
It's a big ass moon.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'm just caught up in your writing now.
Sorry, I'm distracting you.
Nah, it's okay. I'm not sure how to approach this boar. And I'm wondering if maybe I should draw out something of this planet. Maybe the wrecked ship.
Here, I like this part a lot, Legatus. I want to change up this one. For the natural satellite above, the natural satellite far above the surface drew his gaze. Alright, how do I feel about that? The full moon will rise in 4 rotations of this planet, so that's 4 days on the surface. Their days, not our days. Lyron stared at his pilot's terminal, registering the dreadful sentence and all it implied. The alien world spun through space a mere 100 kilometers beneath his feet, seeming so innocent. His screens showed. His screen showed a world of pink hues and bluish hazes, full of strange and fascinating flora. The ship could not detect fauna from such a distance, but it was doubtless present beneath the canopy of vegetation. But that is not what worried Lyron, for the natural satellite far above the surface drew his gaze, a moon, his nemesis. He craved to descend and breathe the open air. He craved to descend and breathe open air that had never passed in part through his lungs before. Yet the looming silhouette of this hulking moon, near half the mass of the planet itself, go with 17 and a half Earth hours. So yeah, it's smaller than the Earth is.
Does Lyra know how long it would take? Or is this
Yes.
just for the audience's sake?
Yeah, he read it at the beginning of the section. That's what this is. That's the bold is him reading it.
Hmm.
In 4 short days, running 17 and a half Earth hours, the moon would turn to face its parent planet, unmasking, showing its terrible visage. If he was still on the planet's surface. Let me read through that again. What are we looking at? He craved to descend and breathe open air that had never passed in part through his lungs before. Yet the looming silhouette of this hulking moon, near half the mass of the planet itself, could not be ignored. In 4 short days, running 17 and a half Earth hours, the moon would turn to face its parent planet, unmasking. I'm just going to do parent. Unmasking, showing its terrible visage in full. Freeing Lyron from his facade of human flesh. If he was foolish enough to be on the surface. In 4 short days, running 17 and a half Earth hours, the moon would turn to face its parent, unmasking, showing its terrible visage in full. And freeing Lyron from his facade of human flesh if he were foolish enough to be on the surface. Alright, he's arrived at the planet, chooses to go down. Okay. And that'll be the end of the chapter. Legatus, I do hope the chat suggestions have not slowed down your writing process too horribly. No, you guys are making great suggestions, especially you, Legatus. So I absolutely appreciate it. It's helping keeping it going rather than slowing it down before the lunar cycle. I think I'm gonna clinch off this chapter and probably call the stream there. I think that might be the best thing to do. And it looks like we are calling it the Karma Sutra. 4 days will be enough time, Lyron thought unconvincingly. I'll be off-world. With these hollow words providing only meager fortification, only meager he kept no, he's going into autopilot himself. The ship's been in an autopilot this whole time, Legatus. I'm saying went into autopilot himself, as in his body went into autopilot rather than the ship itself. on like to add anything there. I can clarify it if that would be easier. Then I can take out himself. I think it might be a little too complicated if I give him a drop ship, so we'll have him go down. So hard to build. Look, Legatus, I'm saying that his body went into autopilot. So yes, he's going to pilot the ship when he's ready for that. But I'm saying that he's in autopilot. I'm not talking about the ship. I'm talking about his body. That's why I added in Lyron's body went into autopilot. I know what auto means. I think that's a good way to end the chapter. Let's see. I think you're overcomplicating it a little bit, Legatus. If I say Lyron's body went into autopilot, most people are going to know that means that he's not consciously paying attention to the actions that he's taking. And that's why I added in the reference to muscle memory as well. Bright orb that hung above his head like all he worked so hard to build. Yeah, making it a simile there rather than a metaphor or an analogy. All right, we have chapter 1. And there's just 3 more. I'm gonna have to write these on my own because there's gonna be another one to do on Monday if we hit the super chat threshold for that. How are you doing, Rachel?
Funny. I'm okay. I'm just trying to draw out a boar. I have an idea because you made this world like really lush with flora. Mm-hmm. So my idea of like a mutant boar that would probably live on this planet would be more like he's overgrown with like moss and branches, and his tusks are more like branches that are coming out. So it's distinguishable enough from like an earth boar. It definitely looks more alien, and maybe he's like frothing at the mouth, very mad. But I kind of like this idea of like it's so lush with flora that the flora even grows on these creatures.
Mm-hmm. No, that would be really interesting looking.
But yeah, so this was honestly a lot of fun. Makes me really kind of like not just look up references for things I never thought I'd draw, but also like giving me this idea of how much do I, draw? What should I focus on? Should I focus on just like doing scenes as you're writing them, or more like making the characters themselves? Just kind of getting this idea of what do I draw? How much do I draw? How do we kind of like marriage those concepts together to where this like these creatures or scenes or whatever are like definitely depicting the story you're writing. But this was a really fun challenge, and I hope this coming Monday, whatever story gets made, we also get to do more art for it, and we get to expand it out. And like you said, it's a good exercise of writing to deadlines. How much can you write in this time? How much can I draw in this time? But I really enjoyed it. I like chill streams.
Yeah, this was very laid back and chill. Hail Weasel over on the YouTube side. Legatus is trying to confirm the characters are robots so we can feel represented. Yes, the bot supreme. Trying to make sure. So, do you want to keep going, Rachel, or do you think this is a good point to call it for the night?
I'm good either way. If you'd like to call it, that'd be fine for me. So what I'll do is I'll just keep drawing these. What I'm gonna do is after I make these sketches, maybe instead of doing the like cover art scene, I just make these characters, and then I'm gonna make my own video on my channel, just fleshing them out, giving them more color and definition and just finishing touches, and then I'll put that video up on my channel.
Awesome. So yeah, I think we're gonna call it quits here. Let's switch back over to the other scene and turn off the music. There we go. All right, and I'll turn off the captions as well. We don't need that right now. So as of right now, because of Tabitha's generous contributions, the title of this book is still Karma Sutra. So
I love it.
Weasel just came in. So the rule is high super chat. He gets to name the story, and so with a $5 super chat, we got Karma Sutra. So if you have another suggestion, please rescue us, please. $6. That's it. But so yeah, where's Karma Sutra? We got through the first chapter. We're gonna have to play around with this. This was our first time trying the story forwards, and Rider Flight was the first time we tried the chat choose your own adventure segment. So it's going to evolve as we figure out what we're going to do. I think for this one, I'm going to spend a lot of the day tomorrow finishing it out and getting it up for members, because I don't want to start stacking up multiple projects at once. That might be a little bit too much to handle. So what we may end up doing is just doing the chat choose your own adventure, and if we hit the threshold, we'll do the separate stream, but it'll just be a one like this where you see the start of the process, and then members will be able to see the final products. I think that'll work out the best. That way we're not on here for 12 hours or doing 5 streams throughout the week and doing nothing else but write these short stories and do this art all the time. So we'll play around with it, and we're of course open to suggestions of how people would like to see us handle this, because at the end of the day, there's a reason it's called Chat Choose Your Own Adventure. This is your guys' story, so the way that you guys want it presented absolutely is important to me. So whatever you guys think will be fantastic. Dr. Rachel, would you like to pimp your wares on our way out?
Sure. So I'm Dr. Rachel. You can find me online, usually on Twitter at Sarah_cosplay, on my channel here, Adeline Crafting. For those watching, thank you so much. Hit that bell for notifications. I do all kinds of art videos. I love just making like cosplay things. You can see some of it in my background, like swords and art and shields and stuff I make, or just drawing or recreating masks, like getting cheap, stupid $1 things at a arts and crafts store for kids and then turning it into some kind of monstrosity. It's a lot of fun. I love doing all kinds of art things. It really gets my gray matter boiling as some might say. So I really appreciate it, and thank you for having me on. This is a nice, fun exercise as well. So just like you say, you're going to finish your story off camera and put it up on your channel. I'm going to do the same thing with my art for my channel. So go ahead, follow Adeline Crafting. These sketches are going to be finalized and made very nice and beautiful, or disgusting, however you want to interpret some of these things. And I'll post that video finishing up the stuff over on my channel. But this, like I said, this was a lot of fun. And going forward, I think it's good. Hopefully people will want me back to make some more art of whatever crazy stories we come up with. But it was really fun figuring this out with you.
Absolutely, and we'll absolutely have you back. The chat doesn't get a say in that. Your art is too good to let wallow on the wayside. So yeah, this, like you said, this was just a great exercise, a chill stream. As I mentioned on Writer Flight, this is a kind of in-between transitional period between books. So I'm not actively writing a 5th book in the Endless Frontiers right now. So this keeps my talent sharp. This makes sure that I don't lose any of my muscle memory or anything like that during the interim between books. So this was just a lot of fun, great for my skill sets to make sure I don't lose anything. And I hope you all enjoyed this. It seems like Legatus definitely did. And we appreciate your inputs. Yes, I appreciate you being involved in this phase of the process. If we could manage to stream the entire process, I would absolutely love to do that. It's just now that we've tested out, realizing that this stream would be like 8 hours, 10 hours long to get the whole thing in, and that's a little unreasonable. So maybe what we'll do is the beginning and the end. So maybe next week, Endless Frontiers can, or not the Endless Frontiers, that the Writer Flight podcast can be extended on later on Monday night or something like that. Do the first chapter, then during the week I get most of it done, and then we can finish out the story and review it on the Saturday show. That might be a better way to do it in future, but we'll see, play around with the different options and see what everybody else is enjoying. For myself, everyone can find me at Endless Frontiers on YouTube. For this week, I don't know what all our plans are for streaming, especially with Adam the Renaissance Nerd and the holiday schedule going on. But I will be playing a game tomorrow night, whether or not that's finishing out Spider-Man 2018 or a co-op game with Adam. We're trying to figure out something for that. So that'll be sometime later on tomorrow night. And then Writer Flight Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern, and gaming streams throughout the week until we do or don't do Saturday Night Drive-In. I need to confirm with Adam what our plan for that is. And besides that, please check out endlessfrontierbooks.com to get an exclusive short story, The Brighton Pacification. It's a prequel short story to the first novel, The Jovian Abyss, that will be released in the Endless Frontiers. It is currently available through the end of the month for 50% off. It'll be available for just $1. The short story is available for just $1. Legatus, did you play Christmas Day? I can't find the stream. Yes, I did play Tomb Raider. I actually sped run that game in 4.5 hours. You can find it probably in the playlist section under gaming streams, because all my gaming streams go unlisted when they're done. But Legatus, yeah, you should be able to find it in the playlist section. Other than that, that's all I have. So if you enjoyed this stream, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing. The more support this channel gets, the closer we are to publishing the Endless Frontier novels. Until then, thank you so much for watching. Have a stellar day and stay curious.
There isn't time for an alternative.
Venturing out into the unknown doesn't have to be frightening.
To push the boundaries of the known with the never conceived of.
Today the world will remember who we are and never forget it.